When she's not making guest appearances, Dame Vera and Harry live quietly in the shadow of the South Downs in Sussex. When I watched you in the Grosvenor, Vera, having that standing ovation, I thought to myself, that's what everybody dreams of, right? Now, you couldn't tell me how many standing ovations you've had. So whatever your nerves are like beforehand, that must be the most glorious moment.
Well, yes, it's very satisfying, you know, because every show that you do, at least for me, is it's the first one, you know. So, and although you do performances at functions that you've done many, many, many times before, you still feel apprehensive, and this going to be all right, and that's going to be all right, and particularly with such a large crowd as we had on that night, you know, when they find you, let you know that they've enjoyed it. And
do you feel loved?
Yes, I think I do, really, because I don't know, there's a sort of a warmth, and I suppose it's because they are reminiscing, a lot of them anyway, and thinking of the times and their chums and their mates, and when they heard you sing and how they heard you, under what conditions, and this all comes back to them, and then that all comes out and you collect it.
I mean, it must be almost like nothing like it.
Well, I think probably that you get a different feel than you would when you're just I mean, when you are a performer and you've been sort of doing the rounds for quite a while and everything, and everybody knows you and they like what you do. But I think probably with myself, it is because of the past that they have more affection or a stronger tie with you. So
you've seen them through a crisis in their life.
Yes, which was a very difficult time.
Indeed. But do you think that when you have to do it over and over and over again now, that in your heart of hearts you wish you didn't have to do it so many times?
Well, I suppose really I've been doing it longer in my life than I didn't do it, if you know what I mean. I was in my early 20s when I first started singing these songs. And and I haven't really stopped singing them since. So it was only when I was doing the television series or I made an album or something that I really had the opportunity of doing something modern and up to date, which I enjoyed very much. But going out on concerts, they don't want those songs. And they never have.
No.
They wanted to see me singing and hear me singing all those songs that they remembered, well, from a few years, and then as time goes on, it's a few more years, and now it's 45, 50 years, or whatever it is. So, of course, that is the hold those songs have on them.
But, Harry, since you've been, 50 years married this year, congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
And manager for
45.
45 years?
Well, no, really, from, I suppose, when I gave up the television shows, really.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in other words, Harry, if Vera sang those songs all those time, you've heard them all those time.
Absolutely, yes.
How have you kept interested?
Because, as Vera says, they're fresh every time. Every time she sings them differently. She never sings any song the same way twice, do you?
No.
It's always interpreted in a different way, so that if she's on the stage and people are listening to her, it's, as she said, the playback from the audience themselves that makes her perform in a certain way.
You know what kind of nerves she goes through before.
I'm afraid so, yes.
And are they pretty terrible,
Yes,
really?
she doesn't talk to me for 3 hours before the show. And if she does, she just gives me orders, you see.
It's fact, isn't it? You get very uptight, I should think, or not?
Well, yes, I do, really, but I just sort of go quiet, really, and you know, and I try
Very
to
quiet.
think of what I've got to do, which makes it very difficult when you're doing cabarets at functions like the RAF, and you're expected to sit and dine with the people beforehand. Apart from the fact that I can't enjoy my meal, you know, people will talk, and I think, oh gosh, if I got to keep on talking, I won't have any voice left by the time we get on the floor.
And they invariably want to smoke cigars.
Yes, on either side.
For 50 years you've been together, and you're not holding hands at the moment.
No, we usually do, but she keeps me in control.
I know, you told me, you said that you were holding your hand, she gives you the tug when you're going too far.
That's
so when I see her hand stretch out for yours, I know you're going too far, Harry, right. But, you know, you must have come to some conscious decision at some point then, both of you, that Vera was the one whose career was going to go
Very mercenary
on.
decision.
A mercenary decision.
Yes,
because you were a
very.
clarinetist.
That's
and
right.
a good player, I bet he was.
Yes, he was.
Yes.
That's
yes,
right.
he was.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we sat down. We didn't want to be separated all the time, like her going on tour and me playing in a band somewhere, going on tour maybe with another band. So we sat down and we said, now, who's going to earn the most money? It was as mercenary as that.
And I
wasn't it?
was.
And she was. So I said, well, you go to work.
And you
No, it
didn't
wasn't
mind? You didn't mind?
No.
No, not really.
Did you
As
worry
long
that
as we
he
were
wouldn't
together.
mind? It was an odd decision. I mean, he gave up a
Well,
lot.
no,
didn't he?
I didn't mind because, I mean, after all, I'd already got a following and I'd got a certain standing in the business and I was able to earn very good money. So, I mean, it would have been very silly, really, to throw all that up and me stay at home. And,
Yes, that's right.
And you'd have been apart if you hadn't done it. That's what you're saying.
That's the
well,
whole point.
yes.
That's the point.
That's right.
But this also fascinates me because you are chalk and cheese. You
Yes,
two.
we are.
Are you not?
Well, yes.
Black and white.
Yeah, we are really.
You're
yeah.
tall and short,
So- that's right.
to start off with.
Absolutely.
And in your book, Vera, the autobiography I read of yours, there's a wonderful bit where you say that he was the tearaway and you were the tidy one.
Oh, yes, I am the
I'll
tidy
face it.
one, yes. He's still not very tidy.
Eastender.
I'll tell you.
You're an East
Well, I'm
End.
an Eastender too, more or
Yeah.
less.
Well, you were
East
up the-
Ham,
you were a
upmarket.
posher part than mine.
But,
But
do you think that you've got differences that really work all the way through then? I mean, have you got... all right, let's try this. Are you extravagant?
no.
Are you?
Yes.
Are you...
I'm
right.
practical.
Yes.
and
Impractical.
and he's not.
Yes. That's the
I would
word.
economise on certain things where he
Yes.
wouldn't. He
Yes.
wouldn't economise.
Makes
You're
it
not,
very-
you're not a flash star, are you? You're not. You don't like the trappings of a big star.
No, I don't. No.
But
No,
you
I
would, I
always
bet.
liked-
Let
for
me
a
give
bet.
you an instance, can
Right.
I? We had a concert to do, somewhere to go, you see, and the driver that we always had with us, unfortunately, left the firm that we hire, the car farm, and went to another firm, but they only have white cars. But she feels that a white car would be too ostentatious.
Yes. No, I
And
always
we
like
had the
to
most
keep a low
beautiful
profile.
Rolls Royce you ever saw, but we had to sell it because she wouldn't go out anymore.
He held your hand then, Vera. He
I
couldn't
was.
stop
Yes,
you talking.
he's getting at me to stop. No, I prefer to keep.
A low profile.
You would never have gone on the stage if you hadn't been sort of encouraged, mostly by your mother, perhaps?
Yes, I think that's true because I mean, so many times, and I think, well, I don't know really why I'm in show business because, well, I do really know why I'm in show business. It's because I always wanted a nice house
Right.
when I was young, and that was one of the things that spurred me on. I thought, well, nobody's going to leave me any money. My parents haven't got any money. I'm not going to inherit any money, and if I want any, I've got to go and try and earn it. I'm not going to earn it by sewing, like my mother did.
Did you ever feel that you were pushed too much into showbiz by your mother?
Not really. I couldn't call her a professional
No.
stage mother, not by any means, because when I left school, she says, well, there's not much point in really carrying on with your singing as a career. Just treat it as like you do now, weekends and more or less as extra pocket money.
So, but I mean, you seem to always slightly do it as a duty, rather than...
Yes, I've always felt I've done it as a duty, even like, well, I suppose all through my career I felt that I had a duty to perform, and that was to sing. And it's this that at the back of my mind, really, that, and then latterly, you know, I felt I had a duty to the servicemen and the people that went through the war. And as the years have gone on, that thought hasn't, I've never changed my mind about that.
Because when you were very, very young, you must have missed out a bit on friendship.
Oh, yes.
You see, didn't you? Because I mean, like a lot of showbiz people, they go in early on, and then you're very isolated.
Well, yes, I mean, because all weekends I used to go around to the clubs and sing. So, of course, during the week, particularly when I was little, I was at school during the week, and weekends were taken up. And then when you get to a certain age, when you want to go dancing at weekends, I was tramping around the country on a tram or a bus doing some concerts and clubs.
So in that way, you don't get the kind of contact of your age group, do you?
No, not really. No, because that means you're mostly with older people. And the only young group, I suppose, that I had constant contact with was when I was younger, when I was in the children's dance troupe. I mean, of course, we were all together.
But would you say, at a guess, that you were less shy than Vera? Because I think of Vera as quite shy in a way.
Well,
I wouldn't say...
I was quite shy myself,
Yes,
really.
he was.
I think that's why I was so aggressive.
He was a very bad mixer.
Yes, that's why I was aggressive.
Yeah, it took him many years to get used to talking to the people that I was working with or for.
Oh, absolutely. If they weren't in show business or not musical or musicians or anything, I had very little time to talk to them.
Do you think that you both then share one thing, which certainly I know you confessed to in your book, is that you had a terrific social inferiority complex?
Oh, yes, that's perfectly true, yes. I was, whether it was because of the fact that I came from not poor people, but I mean, my father was a working man, he was a typical Cockney, and my mother, she used to dressmake, and in those days, I think people grew up feeling their position and their place in life.
Yeah, made to feel it.
That's right. And anybody who had money or had a standing of any sort, you always looked up to them. And I think this stays with you all your life.
But also one awful phrase in your book was where you overheard someone say, "She's never going to be a success.
Yes, that's true.
She's so common."
Yes.
Horrible.
It was not the way I acted, it was my accent.
Yes, I know.
They said was a common accent.
But you must tell Mavis about the time you used to carry a book of Shakespeare around.
Well, that was only because I did try to improve my accent and not to lose a London accent or to go all posh, but to just cut the corners off, you know, round it off
Slightly
a bit.
educate yourself.
Yes, slightly. And I used to go to a teacher, elocution teacher, and I used to have to read from Shakespeare, so because everywhere I went I had this Shakespeare big thick book under my arm, you know.
Yes.
And not that I used to read it all that often, otherwise if I did I'd be very much up in the Shakespeare.
But do you think you overcame it? Do you think anybody ever overcomes that?
I think I
She's
overcame
wonderful
it
at
to
it
a
now.
certain
degree.
Yes.
You have, really.
But it really, it's only in the latter years that I now find that I feel I can talk to anybody on their own level, not academically, I don't mean, but you know, it takes you a long time to get to feel, well, I really am as good as you are.
Yeah. It does take you a long time.
And it takes a lot of years and a lot of success, shall I say, to give you enough confidence to go and feel unequal to other
Absolutely.
people.
I mean, it's one of those things that you can't, it really is time almost erases it, isn't it?
Yes, it
because
is.
Your success at first, you're still not sure inside.
That's right.
No.
You're a crumpled heap, aren't
That's
you?
right.
And your aggression was probably based, Harry, on the same sort of thing, wasn't it?
I'm sure it was. It had to be.
So
Lack of education, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
That you're trying to put yourself across, and the only way you can put yourself across is aggressively. which is not good.
No. Did that do... I mean, did you find that was quite a difficult thing to overcome between you, though? Because you don't
Well,
want
yes,
to...
I did, because I was the other way. I was always trying to be friendly with people.
Yeah.
And I hated anything that was in the form of
And still
arguments
does.
or rounds, and I'm always trying to be friendly with people. And sometimes people don't want to be friendly with you, you know, so of course that used to be hurtful. And this is what makes you really lose confidence sometimes, when you think, well, you know, they don't want to know me.
But so in that way, do you think Vera helped you
Yes.
get your confidence
Yes,
then?
I think so. By experience, though, by experience.
And time and meeting people.
But you see, I had to be aggressive on certain occasions because she was not aggressive. Were you? So I had to be aggressive. Excuse me. Somebody had to be aggressive, right? Somebody had to make the point and say, so-and-so, and this is so-and-so. A small instance is many, many years ago, when we were in the same band together, before we even thought we were going to get married, somebody said to me that she was singing flat, you see. So I said, no, she's not singing flat. I said, you are singing sharp, you see. Well, I never heard any more about singing flat after that, did we?
At the very end of this interview, then, what do you think? Would you say that you could pinch yourself at what happened, or do you think that you anticipated that you could be as big as you've become?
Oh, no, I'm terribly... I really can't understand now why I have been so successful, and whether it was just something that just had to be, and because I do feel that we're all here for a certain reason, and if my reason is to have given encouragement, as they said, or courage, or a little respite from those hard times, and still able to continue, have been able to continue over these years to recapture that time for them, well then I think that was probably my job. And when you hear the different stories, you know, about people and the way they hear your songs and when they heard them and what happened and everything, it's all part of my life, I suppose, that was already planned for me.